Hey, welcome to our show here tonight. Welcome to We'll Sing and We'll Shout. I'm your host, Steve Hansen. We're here on a Tuesday night, and tonight we are going to celebrate my mom's 86th birthday. Mom died back in 1998, but she was born in 1940, so today would have been her 86th birthday. So we're going to talk about and celebrate her some here. I've got my sister Cheryl online with us, and tonight we have a special guest here tonight, first time ever, but won't be the last. We've got my youngest brother Andy on here with us. So we were hoping maybe to grab Dave too, but I think Dave fell asleep on us. So rough day there in Fort Wayne. Kind of interesting. My daughter Ellen just got her mission call here maybe 2 weeks ago, and she is going to the Fort Wayne, Indiana mission, which is a newly created mission in the church. And so she'll be going there and maybe knocking on Dave's door here at some point. So
Pretty cool.
pretty cool. Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, hey, Cheryl, as the oldest, I'm gonna let you kind of take the lead here, and then Andy and I will come in with some inspiring thoughts as we see fit.
All right. I'm still trying to get these pictures of Mom to you.
Tell us about this amazing person we know as Mom. Let's see.
All right.
I'm gonna pop this one up here first. But you can talk about the pictures, or you can just talk about her, talk about what you know about her growing up, wherever you want to go with this.
All right. Well, hang on. Give me one more second while I shoot you this picture because I think this one's pretty funny, actually. Okay, done. And I'm going to email you this one. All right, to Stevie Weavy. There we go. Okay. So Mom, I was thinking about Mom today. The thing I was thinking about Mom today, my very first memory of being with Mom was when I was in California. I was 3 years old, and we were walking in the rain together with umbrellas. And in California, it must not have rained very much, because it was really special. Like I just remember giggling away, and we were walking in the rain with umbrellas, and we were kind of walking along beside the railroad track, which I think is where like the married student housing that Mom and Dad lived in Davis, because Dad was getting his doctorate at UC Davis. So, are you there?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
I just wanted to make sure that I wasn't just talking to myself.
We can hear you fine. And I don't remember California at all. So you're telling me things that I've never heard before. So
Yeah. So I think Mom had even got me one of the little like slicker raincoats kind of thing. It was really special. So I do remember walking along with Mom. I think that's my very first memory ever is having the umbrellas out and walking with Mom up towards married student housing. And then I also think at one point in time, I think I caused an auto accident with Mom in California. She was going across a bridge of some sort, and I think I reached over and grabbed the steering wheel and crashed her into the bridge. Apparently, I wasn't a very good driver as a 3-year-old. But back in those days, kids were not in car seats back in those days. They just kind of bounced around the car, it wasn't any big deal. So I'm sure, Mom probably turned her head to look one way, and I decided, hey, that looks fun. I'm going to grab onto that and grab the steering wheel. And I think I crashed her into a bridge. So that's another one of my very early memories. But we were going very slow. So it wasn't, I think it was just like around town or something. And it wasn't like we were on some big bridge where we were going to fall off into the water or anything. It was just very local. But the thing I was thinking about Mom today was the fact that she was so accomplished at so many things. I mean, she was raised, I think she was raised to be excellent. She was expected to be excellent. I think that's just the Cunninghams were just like that. They expected a lot of their kids just like Mom and Dad expected a lot of us, and her grandparents really spoiled her a lot because Charles was their only child and he was a boy. So when Barbara came along, she's a granddaughter, but I think Mom got a lot of attention from great grandma and grandpa Cunningham. And so that one picture that you see there of her in that formal that you'll put up for me, I'm sure. Um, Mom used to tell me that every time she had a dance, her grandmother and grandfather would drive her to Lazarus in Columbus and get her a brand new formal
Look at that.
because she had to have a new formal for every dance. So when I was growing up, she kind of did that with me. I ended up with a lot of formals because that was mom's thing. And dad used to get really mad at her for buying me all these formals. But I mean, I had, every time I went to a new dance, mom had to go and get me new formals. So it was just kind of her thing.
You can
But,
see that now, right?
yeah, I
You
can
can-
see. Oh my gosh, that's such a beautiful picture of her. I'm guessing she's probably about 16 in that picture.
Wow. Okay.
Um,
Looks older, but yeah.
Yeah, because there's that other picture that I can send you in a minute where she's in that same exact dress and she's sitting in front of a whole bunch of girls. And I think it's like when she got something to do with Eastern Star. And it was some sort of a ceremony that was honoring just mom because she's sitting right in the front. She has the big bunch of roses and there's a whole bunch of girls around her. So I'll try to send you that here while you guys are talking. But so she was raised in a family where she was expected to be excellent and she expected that of herself. And she started on the piano and just was very good at that right away. She told me about like her first piano recital, she did that Fur Elise piece, which is not an easy piece, especially for a beginner. So this picture right here really cracks me up that you just put up with mom because well, for one thing, that little boy and girl behind her, the little boy and girl saying their prayers, they're classic pictures. A lot of people will know them.
Yeah,
Um,
I remember those pictures from when we were young. Yeah.
yeah, they were up in our bedroom when we were young, and I got them, and they were in all my kids' nurseries, and then I passed them to Allison, and she's got them, and they were in all her kids' nurseries. And I recently found an extra set of them on Facebook Marketplace, and I went and bought them just beautifully framed. And I gave them to Annie so she'd have them for her kids too. So my girls have the picture of the praying boy and the praying girl. But Allison has the original ones that are on the wall behind mom right there.
Oh, wow. Okay.
They're kind of beat up. The frames are a little bit beat up just from being moved 800 times because I moved so much in my life. But
Yeah.
anyway, she's got them, but I just find this picture to be funny. I read the back of the picture and it said February of 64. So mom should be about 3 months pregnant with me at this point in time, which with it being her first pregnancy, she wouldn't be showing by then. But and I just find it funny that dad's taking a picture of mom getting into bed. I mean, that's just that's just so corny. I mean, it's so how dad like staged everything whenever we would do our home movies. And now that I've been watching Leave It to Beaver long enough, I realized what he was doing. He was trying to make our life look like Leave It to Beaver. Because that's exactly the way they do all their beginnings, are just like dad always wanted us to be in those silly home movies. But this picture of mom getting into the bed just cracks me up. All right, go back to the other one of her in the kitchen.
Yeah, this kitchen thing. This is pretty.
The kitchen
That's
one
pretty.
is really cool to me because vintage kitchens are really in right now. Like people are paying
Mhm.
big money for those old vintage sinks and stuff.
Hmm.
And of course, mom's got her vintage, well, they're vintage now. Back then they were new, but appliances. I can't tell from the way her fingers are. Is she like got a cigarette in her fingers? It wouldn't surprise me because mom was a
I'm.
smoker.
I don't. I don't see that.
All right. Just
I
the way
don't
she's
see
holding her
that.
fingers, I almost wonder if she's holding a cigarette. I've got the actual photograph here, so let me look a little closer. No, I think she's just pointing at something.
Yeah.
But I mean, doesn't she just look like the perfect little 50s housewife there? She's got her apron on and she's got her hair just perfect and the cute little fluffy curtains behind her. And I mean, this must be the house that they bought together in California
Oh, I didn't know they.
before
I
I
didn't
was
know they.
born.
Oh, I didn't know they owned a house in California, but they
Yeah,
did.
they
Okay.
did. They owned a house in California. And then after I was born, mom started having her mental illness problems, and she thought the government was spying on her. And she would pull down all the window shades, and she refused to leave the house. And dad ended up finally having to sell the house because she wouldn't go out. And that's when they moved into married student housing. But when I was a baby in those early movies, that's the house. I think it's on Denison Drive in California
Hmm.
and Davis. But this kitchen must be from that house. And look how cute it is. I mean, it's just an adorable kitchen. So it kind of makes me laugh. But mom just looks so June Cleaver there.
So
Um,
she was struggling pretty seriously with those issues, even way back when you were young, huh?
yeah,
Um,
it was usually the pregnancies, and that wasn't pregnancy so much. She was usually pretty healthy with the pregnancies, but we have talked uh, at length about hormones and what they can do to you.
yeah,
And I really think it's the crash in the hormones after pregnancy that would send her into these tailspins. Um, but let's not talk about negative things today. Since it's mom's birthday, let's focus on the positive.
yeah.
So she was excellent at the piano right away. And I came to realize after my son Christopher got me into email and I started typing again and then went back to playing my piano, how much those two skills are interrelated. Because once I started doing emails, my piano playing improved greatly. And you
Hmm.
know how mom was such a wonderful typist, like she could type like the wind, but probably because she could play the piano so well, they went together.
Well, I'm a pretty
Um,
good typist, but I don't know where the piano skills are. But
Well,
anyway,
maybe if
go
you
ahead.
have, like, if you have some basic piano skills like I did, and
Oh,
then
oh,
you learn to type, then all of a sudden your piano skills get better. Because that happened to me anyway.
yeah, okay.
Um, but then as we were growing up and she started to learn things like mom told me that she didn't really know how to cook a whole lot when she first got married. She could barely boil an egg because she said Louise loved to cook. So she would do all the cooking and Tanya and mom would have to clean up. But she didn't really
Okay.
teach them a lot about cooking. So when mom first got married to dad, she wasn't a very good cook. But you think about by the time you and I were children or even young adults, she could put together a dinner
She was a good
party.
cook, yeah.
She was a very good cook, and she would do all that bread baking and all that canning. And I mean, she taught me so many things for homemaking, and she taught me that being a homemaker is nothing to be ashamed of. It's something that you can really take pride in, taking care of your family the right way and everything. So I just learned so many really great lessons from mom growing up, besides all the music she brought into our lives with the singing and the I think I took it a step further with the ballet and the theater, but mom had always we always had music in our home. And of course with mom being an organist and dad being an organist, I mean, just people don't have that in their home and we did. So that was a real blessing that we had.
Well, especially you know, out in the country there in Bellevue, Ohio, whatever. Um,
Right.
yeah, there wasn't as much of that for sure.
No. So I just had, I'm really grateful for all the lessons that mom taught us. And there's so many funny stories that we could tell about her. But why don't you guys take it from here and see what my voice is kind of bad tonight because I've got like an ear infection. So I'm struggling. But what do you
There's
have?
there's a picture where you and I and David are standing, and I can't seem to put my hand in it right now, but a picture of you and I and David are standing in front of that house on there when we went to Parkmore Elementary. What was the name of that street? Um, and I wish I could find that picture, but mom looks a little older there, but she doesn't look a whole lot different. The thing, and I was, 5, 6 years old then. The thing for me though is I really don't remember mom much, being this thin.
Right.
And it's because I spent so much time being familiar with her being bigger as she got older.
Right.
Um, and it's unfortunate that I don't remember her more like this. But this isn't the picture that I wanted to show. But yeah, I don't remember her that well being that size. But uh, and I wish I'd also have one of the very last pictures she took when she was up in Michigan and had her big heavy coat on, and it'd just be interesting to contrast all that.
Right.
And as I've learned so much about insulin resistance and what that does to your body and how that creates so many problems. And I feel like that was the root cause of all of mom's problems was that she was just, heavily insulin resistant. And if she could have gotten some appropriate help and turned that around, her whole life could have been a completely different story.
Yeah,
I
dad picked on mom quite a bit about her weight, but when I look at those pictures of us when we were growing up, like some of those family pictures that were taken, mom wasn't extremely heavy. She looked fine. Dad was just super
well,
picky.
dad was a perfectionist. Yes. Yeah.
Yes.
He had an eye for perfection in that way.
Yep.
Uh, and I
So
probably
poor mom, here she's got 6 kids and she's expected to be some fashion plate. Well, screw him.
so well. Okay, now let's keep this.
Well, I just
on the
remember even
up and up here.
him even picking on me about my weight when I was like a teenager. And I
Yeah.
look back at the pictures of me as a teenager and I'm like, I'm I'm slender. I look just fine. And I
Yeah.
remember him kind of nudging me to diet, and it was just
Oh.
like, for goodness sakes, Dad. Yeah, we're people, okay? Yes, we do have some fat on our body. Please forgive us.
Well, Dad spent his life being pretty slender,
He
and
did.
it was
There's
something
no way he
really.
could comprehend. I wish he'd have had to go through a pregnancy, see how he felt about it.
So, we're getting all sorts of stuff tonight, Andy.
He's on a roll here.
Just get out of the way before you get run over, buddy.
I'm just sitting over here quietly.
All right, why don't you boys take it away? I'll be quiet.
So, well, I always just loved going on trips with Mom. She just always loved to get in the car and just, go somewhere. And one of the fun things was going down with Mom on those trips to Wheeling, West Virginia, where she would go see that doctor down there that was working with her on, diet type things. Like he was convinced that this was all, related to diet or whatever. And he was trying to help her get that figured out. And it was determined that I needed some of that same kind of help. And so I would,
But
and I think
meanwhile, you
most,
got to go along on the fun trips.
yeah, I think mostly Mom just wanted somebody along, not only on the trip, but on this health journey.
Right.
And so I kind of got yanked into that too, which is fine because it was fun to go down to Wheeling, and I think we've made 2 trips down there. I don't think it was like but that was fun. But going up to see grandparents when the grandparents were still in Galleon, we'd hop in the car and run down to Galleon and see them for the day or whatever.
Oh
But
yeah, I went to Galleon a lot with Mom.
Mom was always up for a trip, but she learned that from all the trips that she went on with her grandparents. So I think that's kind of where a lot of that came from. But she was always up for a journey.
Yep.
But she was also pretty darn good about being up for a snack. I mean, it didn't take a whole lot to get Mom to stop at the Dairy Queen. She
Right.
wouldn't do it. She wouldn't do it every time,
Yep.
but she would do it a lot more often than Dad would. It was tough to get Dad to stop at the Dairy Queen unless you had worked hard all day. If a Cheryl was moving at high speed all day long,
Oh my gosh! Don't
there
even
might
get me.
be a Dairy Queen trip in there, but anything short of getting your entire list done.
That's true, which was impossible.
But
A Cheryl moving at top speed.
yes, a Cheryl moving at
Yes.
top speed. So, but those are some good memories of Mom there for sure. What was really neat for me was when I moved down to Columbus there for the last half of my junior year and got to spend that time alone with Mom. And
Right.
we just really had a great experience down there together. And she had often, told me how important that had been to her, that I had been willing to leave the farm and come down there and stay with her. And while I was really doing it, for myself, not that I wasn't thinking of her at all, that's not true, but I was really doing it as my own means to get away from what for me was a challenging, problematic situation there. But she had always really expressed a lot of gratitude and how much that meant to her that I had left all that and came down there and lived with her. But that 8 months I spent down there in Columbus was probably some of the happiest times of my teenage years. I mean, we
Yeah.
just really had a great experience down there. That summer we had so much fun that you were down there, going to GD Ritzy's every week, like you talked about.
Yeah, we did have fun.
But I also got to date and interact with a lot of really good kids, and especially girls. Well, I wasn't dating kids, but I got to date and interact with a lot of really good LDS girls, and also some other girls from the schools there and whatever. So it was a time when life kind of came back together for me in a big way. And then we worked at the Ohio State Fair, and that was a lot of fun. That was really a
Yes.
great experience. That was 17 days back then. And now,
Yeah, I know.
now
I
that-
told you it was like almost 3 because by the time we got there and rehearsed for the State Fair Youth Choir, because we went like a week early. I mean,
Right.
I was there like for almost a month.
So, yeah, working at the state fair was just a really super fun experience, and so it was a great time down there. Um, Andy, so Cheryl and I have gone off here. What do you have to share here? What do you have to add?
Oh, just whenever I remember when being with mom, of course, she liked to get the sodas. I'm sure you guys are both familiar with that. And so that
Oh
was
yeah.
always fun. You didn't have a hard time convincing mom that it was a good time to go get some soda. So,
Either pop or chocolate sodas.
yeah, yeah. And
Yes.
so that was always fun, no matter, where she was living at the time. And then, of course, I was telling Cheryl, I was digging around through some of my stuff and found the scrapbook from when Ben, Matt, and I went out to California there and visited her and Arnold. And we got to do some traveling around, saw the Muir Woods, and went to Yosemite National Park. And there's some pretty good pictures there, and I need to get those digitized because they're starting to fade a bit. So, but yeah, it was fun to flip through those pictures and remember what they were. Of course, we got to go see San Francisco. We went to the Golden Gate Bridge and we saw Fisherman's Wharf, and of course that's back before the folks trashed it in the manner that they have these days. So
Right.
Well, I would say we were out there for fall break. We took Kenny to San Francisco for fall break, and Fisherman. I mean, things looked pretty good there, Andy.
okay,
Maybe there was
well,
a
good.
time when things were pretty bad. There are certain places around downtown San Francisco where there's a lot of homelessness and just a lot of stuff you don't want to be around. But it wasn't necessarily in the place where the tourists are more common. And maybe they do, even though it's a liberal city, nut house capital of the world, maybe they do a good job of kind of herding everybody where they want them and away from the places where they don't want them. I suppose that's probably what's going on. They still want to keep the liberal, we're getting into politics now here, but
Yeah,
they still want to keep the liberal look, but they all also want to make sure the tourists are willing to keep coming. So we had a really good experience there. It wasn't
Well,
problematic
Christopher
at all.
just moved to San Jose, and he said he had a choice between living in San Francisco and San Jose. And he said San Jose, for one, was a little bit cheaper, but it was also a little bit safer. Like whoever the mayor is, there's doing a good job of keeping the homelessness kind of taken care of, and it's a lot safer to like walk on the sidewalk there. And because Chris doesn't have a vehicle right now, so he's walking everywhere.
Oh wow,
But
okay,
yeah, but so he said he had a choice between those two cities, and he chose San Jose.
right.
But all right, I'm sending you a few more pictures of mom.
I
Now, the
got
one
this
I
group
sent
one.
you,
I want to
one
get
I,
this group one up because this is a really nice one.
yeah.
So what else you got here? Andy, did you ever get to go on any of those journeys with mom when we were drinking, what was it, orange pop and eating Lucky Charms or whatever it was?
yeah. Dave and I did one. I don't remember it. I was
That was to
still.
Nebraska. Dave got to go, Dave and Andy got to go to Nebraska together.
Yeah, Dave didn't like orange soda or Lucky Charms anymore after that. Apparently, that was about all he could do on that one. So I don't
Well,
remember it. I remember
mom,
none of that. So
mom was so paranoid that the only food that she would feed the boys was Lucky Charms and Sun-Kissed orange soda. There was no milk on the Lucky Charms. It was just Lucky Charms. So
Right.
Dave said to this day he can't not look at he cannot even look at a Sun-Kissed orange soda.
yeah,
It was it was one of her spells. It was one of
One
her
of her
spells she was
spells.
going on. Yeah.
And she
Oh
took
wow.
off with two of the boys, and she went to, and the only reason that we even knew where she was is because she got pulled over in Nebraska doing about 90 miles an hour, maybe more.
Right.
And they realized she wasn't right, and she had kids with her. So they took her into the police station, and they called dad, and dad had to fly out to Nebraska and drive her home.
drive back. Yeah.
Yeah. So
Yep.
interesting.
So
Tell me, Cheryl, what do you know about some of mom's before dad came along? Who did she date, and what were some of those things?
Well, I
Relationships.
do remember hearing some funny stories about mom having some guys that she was interested in. But when they would try to take her home, the brothers would file out or be close by and be making it very uncomfortable for the young man.
Okay.
Like Carlton and Barry and them, they didn't want their sister dating anybody.
That's
So
wild.
they were very protective, I guess. Maybe Warren and Tanya can shed some more light on that. But I do remember hearing some funny stories about that, them being, protective brothers over her. When she got to Ohio State, I don't know if she dated anybody before Dad. Like, I was just looking through the pictures of the box that Susan gave me, and there are some pictures of Dad at some formal dances with some women I don't recognize. And man, they're kind of ugmo, I tell you what.
Okay.
Dad did much better when he got Mom. So I'll have to share those with you boys. You'll get a kick out of them. But I don't know Mom's early dating life, if she just like if Dad was her first college boyfriend or what. She never really said anything about any other boys. So I don't
So
know.
yeah, so this photo here, this is kind of an amazing photo. You've got all these gals back here dressed up in their formals. What do you know what this was?
I think it's an Eastern Star thing.
Okay.
So
And
it had to do with the Masonic Lodge.
okay.
Do you have that up right now?
Yeah, I do. I got
Okay.
the group. Well, I'm sorry, I had it up. Let me bring it back up here.
Okay.
Here it comes. All right, so
Oh,
there's the
there it
group.
is. Yeah.
Yeah.
So there's, I was looking at this today real close and I was realizing that, I guess I'm a little prejudiced, but Mom really stands out in this bunch. And not just because she's right in the center. She's just such a beautiful woman. I
Yeah.
mean, I really think she could have been in a Miss America pageant pretty easily. And she really held herself that way. I mean, she was very elegant when she was younger. So
That's what
um
people used to say about me too, that I
Yeah,
had a
you were
lot of
always so elegant.
I had a lot of elegance. Is often the comments I would hear. What about you, Andy? Did you get that around Worcester High School?
I did, and they wanted me to participate in the Miss America pageant. They thought I would have won. I was just that good looking.
Or at
So
least
You
Miss
with your
Worcester anyway.
you with your beautiful hair that you have now, Andy, you could probably do pretty well.
yeah, my gorgeous golden locks.
Yes, your golden locks.
It's about time to get these things cut off. I'm about done.
I was enjoying it last weekend when I saw you.
Tell us
Yeah,
about this one here. Is this like introduction to the Eastern Star or something? What is
I'm
the Eastern
wondering
Star?
now, I do have a picture around here somewhere of Mom and Dad. I'm wondering if I know that there was a ceremony because Mom and Dad were both in fraternities and sororities. They were big into that Greek thing. And there was what you called a pinning ceremony. It was basically saying you were going steady. But it was part of the ceremony at, I don't know if it would have been done at his fraternity or her sorority, but there was something called a pinning ceremony. And I'm wondering if this picture that I have here, I'll send it to you, was the night they got pinned. Because I know that other picture I sent to you was the night they got engaged. The one that you have there, Stephen, in Utah, that you're getting taken care of for us.
Uh,
But this picture here, Mom's got some flowers. Dad's all dressed up in a white tuxedo. So let me get this to you. I'm wondering if this is the night that they got pinned, because she did tell me about that. It was a real big deal.
so yeah, the Eastern Star is a worldwide nonprofit fraternal organization and an independent body of Freemasonry, open to men and women. The men must be Master Masons, but the women just have to have a specific Masonic relationship, familiar family,
Yeah,
relationship. It's
right.
dedicated to charity, truth, and loving kindness. So,
Well, I know Mom paid her dues for Eastern Star until the day she died. So it was important to her. Even when she was extremely poor, she would pay her dues to that. So when I put together her headstone for her funeral, I put that emblem right on there. The Eastern Star emblem is right on her gravestone because it
all right,
obviously meant something to her.
all right.
So, all right. Did
That's
I did I get this one to you? The one with the where Dad's in a white dinner jacket and Mom's in a white and black dress.
yep, yep.
Okay.
It'll take me a minute to get this over, but I will.
But that's another
Um,
one of those formals that the Cunninghams would have bought for her.
right. Yeah, that's pretty sharp there.
Yeah.
That's pretty sharp.
And you'll see a lot of pictures of Mom, like the one that's up right now. She's in a yellow formal. And I mean, she just had a dress for everything. It was important to CK and Blanche that she looked nice. So
Right.
I actually have some pictures of CK and Blanche in this pile of photos somewhere, and I was trying to find them so I could So I could send it to you so we could put that up, what our great grandparents looked like.
Right.
They were funny couple. Aunt Tanya always says that Grandma Blanche was such a Victorian lady. She was just so proper, and everything had to be just so.
Right. I do remember Blanche. I don't really remember him. I
Yeah,
was 4 years old when he passed away, so that one is a
right.
little beyond me. But
I barely remember him, and the thing I remember about him was he was slender
hmm,
and kind of funny. And he would kick the TV when the Cowboys, like, it was a cowboy and Indian movie. It wasn't sports. He didn't kick the TV when his sporting team wasn't winning. Although maybe he did. I never saw him watching sports. But if it was like a cowboy and Indian movie, and if the Indians were winning, he'd be up kicking the TV. So that made a big that made a big impression on a 5-year-old girl. I was like, whoa, something's wrong with Grandpa.
He knows
yeah.
that's scripted, right?
He's
Well,
apparently not.
now Charles would throw his drinking glass at the TV. In fact, I understand that one time during a Ohio State Michigan game, he threw his glass at a TV and broke it.
Oh dear.
Now I wasn't there for that, but I will say I was there at times watching football with him, and he would swear at the TV. I mean,
Yeah.
he would let the refs have it,
Right.
or the coach, or whoever needed it.
Uh-huh.
Charles would let him have it. So that was
I
that
do
was always
remember that
interesting.
gauntlet where, like, Grandpa's TVs, there was like probably 3 or 4 big chairs laid out in front of the TV in that big family room they had there. That was on
Yeah.
the back of the house. And on the other side of the family room happened to be the bathroom. So between the dining room and the bathroom, there's this gauntlet where you had to run between the chairs and the TV. And sometimes I
Okay.
think I would get down on my hands and knees and crawl through because I didn't want to get yelled at for blocking the TV. Probably sometimes I even just went upstairs and went to the bathroom so that I didn't have to hear about myself being, in the way. But so
Right.
that
Yeah,
that's pretty funny.
I do remember that bathroom back there you're talking about.
Uh-huh. It was a
So
really like pink and green tiled bathroom. I loved it. I used
they
to
had,
be able to take
yeah, they
baths in
had the
there.
1960s bathrooms for
The
sure.
square tiles. Oh, I found the pictures of Grandma and Grandpa. Yay! All right, I'll get these to you, Steve.
Okay.
This is
Um,
Blanche and CK, our great grandparents Cunningham. And you can tell from the picture, Grandma really is quite the Victorian lady. She's sitting up straight and tall. She's got
no,
her
the
lacy dress on.
one thing you didn't touch on was, Mom was not any kind of track star or basketball player or anything like that. Maybe she played some tennis. They had tennis rackets. Maybe she did some of that, but she was an accomplished swimmer.
Yeah,
Like
very accomplished swimmer.
the gal could jump in a pool and do laps. And even
Yeah.
as she got older and weighed more, she could still jump in that pool and do laps in a way
And
that
what's
I
interesting is swimming.
never could.
I'm kind of a hefty gal now too, and the one exercise that I can do is swimming, but I cannot do swimming like Mom did, where it's
Yeah.
just laps and laps and laps. I mean, she was amazing, but she was a lifeguard at her high school at her pool in Galleon. She was a lifeguard for 2 or 3 summers, I think, maybe sophomore, junior, and senior year. She was a lifeguard.
Right.
So she said she had to take all this fancy lifeguard training and get this Red Cross something or other.
Yeah, and I think
So,
becoming a lifeguard and being a lifeguard probably involved a lot more than it does today in the way of training and just the whole 9 yards.
right. All right. So the pictures of Blanche and CK Cunningham are heading to you, Steve. These
Okay.
are really fun. I think these, from the way Grandma's hair is white in the upper one, that's more kind of how I remember them. Um, in the lower picture, Grandma's hair is more gray than white, so I'm thinking that's probably about 10 years difference in the two pictures.
Now, what are you thinking about this picture here? What do you think the time frame is there? Is that 1976?
Let's see. This picture here on the back says this was taken on the ship during our trip through the islands.
Oh,
That's the bottom one where they're sitting at a table, and you can see Grandma's purse in the background. Now, this upper one, oh, here it is right here. The upper one where Grandma's hair is white, says Grandpa and
Oh,
Grandma Cunningham, and this is Mom's writing, November 18th, 1968. And it would have
what?
been their 60th anniversary.
Oh, well, I'm talking about the picture I've got up on the screen right now.
Oh, okay, let me look,
You,
because I was
you
just sending, oh, this is Aunt Tanya's wedding.
okay?
So I was, so this had been around about 1970. Because I was 6 years old. Me and Beth Ann were flower girls, and Mom was the maid of honor. And she wore this beautiful velvet dress. So I'm almost positive that that's Aunt Tanya's wedding.
Okay.
Velvet dress with a white. Yeah, that is. Judy made these dresses for everyone. And Mom's was Aunt Tanya got married at Christmas time. So Mom's had the dark green with the white, and it was like a white fur trim. And then the all the bridesmaids had the dark like red velvet dresses, and me and Beth Ann had little golden velvet dresses. And we carried, instead of flowers, we all carried white muffs, like white fur, rabbit fur muffs.
Okay, I
So
remember. Actually, I kind of remember that. I kind of remember you with
yeah,
your muff.
you and Carlton Dean might have been like little ring bearers. I don't
Perhaps I don't
remember for
remember
sure.
that, but I do remember your muff hanging around the house there after the fact.
Yes.
I didn't really understand what a muff was for, but
Well, it
um,
was in the old days when the women used to ride in carriages, and to keep their hands warm, they
right
would just put it inside this muff. So
there you go, Andy. You should have got your girlfriend's a muff.
yeah,
Yeah,
Um,
well, yes. Yes.
they'd have
so
been
old.
impressed with you for being so
I'll have to,
thoughtful.
I'll have to see if I can find one.
Yes.
So old Charlie there. Yeah, I don't really remember him, but I do remember her.
Yeah.
So what are these pictures we got here?
The top one is in 1968. It's their 60th wedding anniversary. And these are the people who really, really took to our mother, and they bought her a grand piano when she was just a very little girl, which is now at my Aunt Judy's house in Niles.
Oh,
Mom had a fit about that because they kind of stole it and said that it was Beth Ann's piano, but it was really Mom's piano. So let's not get into those family dynamics.
yeah.
But then the lower picture, it says they're on a cruise ship going somewhere. And I'm guessing there's at least 5 years difference between these two pictures, because Grandma's hair in the bottom picture is much grayer. And in the top picture, it's all white. So
Right.
I don't know what color her hair was originally. Maybe she was a redhead. I know redheads go white like that. So maybe she had red hair. I don't, pictures were always black and white back then. So you can really tell.
Yeah. He looks like a pretty sharp dude. He
Yeah.
looks like a pretty astute fellow.
He always had
So
beautiful Cadillacs. I remember that much. Drove his
yeah.
Cadillacs.
Well, I remember being in the back of some car from the late 40s, early 50s or something, and it would have been one of his cars, but yeah, it was like an old Oldsmobile or something.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, they were a neat couple. And in fact, the house that they lived in Galleon, I actually stopped there with Martin. I don't know, it was 5 years ago or so. And there was a couple in the front yard, and I went over and spoke to them, and I said, "This is where my great grandparents lived when I was growing up, and I had my fifth birthday party right there on your front porch." And so they were interested to hear about, the history of their house and who had lived there and stuff.
Hmm.
So that was kind of fun. I would have loved to gone inside, but I think one of the reasons that I have such a love for like Victorian furnishings and older homes is because of the house on Gill Avenue. Grandma had the most beautiful furniture in there. And then also Grandma and Grandpa's house around the corner. And even Aunt Elsie lived in that big Victorian house with the turret. Do you remember
Yeah.
that? And like she had her live like some of her living room furniture back in the little turret part of that. And I think those three houses in particular have really shaped my love for that kind of for the older homes and that old furniture. And it just feels homey to me because, that was visiting our grandparents. That's what we saw.
Do you know that Blanche? I'm just checking some things out here. Blanche was the oldest of six children. She
I
had
know. Quite a few
two
sisters, right?
two younger brothers and three younger sisters.
Yes. And
And
Aunt Elsie was her baby sister, I think.
oh, Elsie. Well, now Elsie was the fifth child. She had
Okay.
Mary was younger than Elsie. I did not realize that until right now. But yeah, you're right. Elsie's right there. Elsie Mae Eccleberry. So
Yep.
Blanche was an Eccleberry,
Yep.
and her mom was Ida Bell Rains. So, and then you go back some really, and then what's kind of interesting, Theodore Eccleberry was Blanche's father. Blanche's grandfather, Ezekiel Eccleberry married Julia Ann Edelblut. So an Eccleberry married an Edelblut,
Ah.
which is, that must have been quite a wedding announcement. So we got
So
the,
when I
I
got my
remember,
DNA, it said that I was part English, and I think Eccleberry sounds English to me. I don't know, just does.
so, and this is kind of interesting. So Theodore is the fourth child of what looks like 11 children.
Wow.
Theodore is the fourth of 11. Um, so, so
And none
there's a
of us
lot
have
of,
used that name. Oh, Natalie did. Natalie's got a little Theo.
she does, yeah.
Yeah.
And she probably doesn't even, well, Natalie's not
She's not
attached to
even
this
related
line.
to these people, but
She's not related to these people,
no.
I'm
but
wondering if that comes from Chris's side of the family.
yeah,
Yeah, it
could
could.
be.
It's a good
Well,
name.
we'll kind of claim it. And then
So, Andy,
her,
if you have any little boys, you can name them Theodore.
Yeah, absolutely. I like Theodore. That's a good, yeah, Teddy.
It's a good name, right? And you could
Yeah.
always call him Beaver, like they do on Leave It to Beaver. His name's Theodore Cleaver.
right, yeah. And then
Teddy Roosevelt's one of my favorite presidents there.
I love Teddy Roosevelt, and not to get into politics, but he reminds me so much of Donald Trump. I know people hate that, but I just think he does.
John Edelblut, who was Theodore's grandfather, they had 8 children. John Edelblut got married Maria Ann Powers in Williamsburg, Virginia. So
So
that's
they've
kind of
been
where,
around. So that's where the daughters, I think Blanche was a member of the DAR, which is the Daughters of the American Revolution.
right.
So our family, her family in particular, must have been in the United States for quite a while.
Yeah, some of that goes up Blanche's line, and it also goes up Louise's line. Like the Hammets are also
Yeah,
tied into the American Revolution.
because the
And
Hansons
then
didn't come over till well after that was over. They didn't even come
1888.
till after the Civil War was over. They didn't want anything to do with all that fighting.
Yeah, well, and they didn't want that over in Denmark either. The German army wanted to get Miss Thomas to come serve,
Signed up.
and they said you got 24 hours to either sign up or get out of here, and they
And
got on the ship and got out of there. So
yep.
you go back another generation, and there's another family with 10 children. Why would anybody want to get married and have 10 children? Like that is just insane. Like who would
What
do
is wrong
that?
with that person?
Yeah, who would do something like that? That's crazy. So anyway, lots of good
Well,
stuff. Oh man, we could have so much fun talking about this ancestry, but here is Captain you go back the Eccleberry line, and here is Captain Johann Valentine Eckelberger, which then became Eccleberry. But he was wow, they had 11 kids, and he was a captain. He was born in Germany and died in Pennsylvania, but he was some sort of a captain there. So
nice.
anyway,
Well,
hey,
mom has quite the lineage, which she then passed on to us. But
she does, yeah.
yeah.
She's
And
deep
we're
into the
somewhere
country,
back there. We're
but
related to Daniel Boone. I know that.
yeah, you're right. It is his sister is our direct ancestor.
Yeah.
Crockett.
It's
It's Davy
Oh, it's
Crockett.
Crockett. You're right. It's
Yeah.
Davy Crockett.
yeah, Davy Crockett. Rebecca Crockett is our
Yeah.
ancestor, and that is his sister. So Daniel or Davy is Uncle Davy. So
Ah, there we go.
yeah.
Well, needless to say, our mother was quite a lady. And if it wouldn't have been for her illness, I can't even imagine how far she would have gone in life. But, that thing really kind of struck her down, unfortunately. But we still have so many good memories of her and her laughter and her music and all the wonderful things she taught us. And you know what? The main thing, her testimony of the gospel. Besides her testimony of the Buckeyes, her testimony of the gospel is probably the one thing that really, really grounds me. And her and dad just both being so stalwart. And in mom's purse, before she passed on, she had written to Thomas Monson about the church. And I'll just leave it at that. But She loved the church. She loved the gospel, and she just made that really obvious in the way she lived and the way she taught all of us. So
Well, she was the one who first took the dip and joined the church. So
yeah,
she was the one who led the way in all that.
yep,
And first read the Book of Mormon, and she carried the Book of Mormon with her entire life. Not necessarily on her person,
right.
but it was always close by her bedside. So
And now that we know that so many of Charles's relatives crossed the plains and went with the Saints west, I mean, I'm sure he's turning in his grave to know that, but it's really true. And so that I'm sure she had people from the other side just cheering her on, and pulling for her.
yeah,
When she opened the door and the missionaries were standing there, she must have felt something. So,
yep, yep.
you know,
Well, hey, this was fantastic. We're 46 minutes into this. We will talk more about moms joining the church and some of those things in other sessions for sure, because we really hardly even touched on that tonight. And Andy, we'll get you back on here as appropriate or whenever you want to, and let you make contributions too. So,
Okay,
but
that sounds good.
so tonight is Wednesday. Tomorrow night will be Throwback Thursday. It feels like we're always throwing it back somewhere, but we'll have some more fun and amazing things to share with everybody who wants to tune in and catch us on the replay. And I don't think we're quite to 1 million followers yet, Cheryl, but we keep getting closer.
hey,
So
if we bring Andy on and then we bring David on, that'll put us over the edge. I know Uncle Aaron wants to come on too. I mean, cousin Aaron, our cousin Aaron.
yeah, well,
He
well,
wants to come on, and I think him and David on together could be a real hoot. So
yeah. And of course, Aaron's been on, but we definitely, we want to get him on. It'd be fun to get him on with his wife, Stephanie. And so
oh
for
yeah, the
sure.
two of them could do a whole show, just the two of them.
So,
They're really
yes,
funny.
lots of good things coming. All
Yep.
right. Well, hey, we're going to let you guys can hang on a minute here, but we're going to let everybody else go, and we will catch up with you tomorrow night.
Bye, everybody.
Bye.